Now we move on to our first panel discussion session. And what a wonderful panel we have to start the panel proceedings and start the discussions. A wonderful panel of 8 expert speakers across the industry. So I won't take much time before inviting them. Would like to tell you and make you aware of the topic: CX automation, streaming customer experience for the businesses, and some of the key points this eminent panel is going to discuss: customer experience as a key differentiator and driver of business success, challenges in delivering a great CX in today's digital world, how customer experience automation platforms streamline and automate the CX process, and many more. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome with a big round of applause the honorable panel members. Joining us first in the panel, Dr.Jagmohan Singh RISHI, Vice President and Global Head from MNC Conglomerate Wockhardt. Doctor, welcome to the panel. Please have your seat, sir. Joining next, we have Mr. Dharmarajan K, Chief Business Officer from Tata CLiQ. A big round of applause to Mr. Dharmarajan. Sir, please have your seat. Joining next in the panel, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Rakesh Gupta, Head Customer Experience Anchor by Panasonic. A big round of applause to Mr. Rakesh Gupta. Please have your seat, sir. Joining next in the panel, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Nilesh Borgharkar, Senior Vice President, Customer Support and Service, People Interactive, Shadi.com. A big round of applause to Nilesh. Please have your seat, sir. Joining next in this panel, we have Mr. Rupesh Nirgude, Chief Information and Digital Officer from Prism Johnson. A big round of applause to Rupesh. Please have your seat. Joining next, we have Mr. Nitin Mehta, Chief Customer Officer and Head Digital Marketing, Bharti XL Life Insurance. A big round of applause to Nitin. Nitin, welcome to the panel. Please have your seat. Joining next in this panel, we have Mr. Siddharth Saxena, Senior Vice President, Information Technology, Kotak Mahindra Bank. A big round of applause to Siddharth. Siddharth, welcome to the panel. Please have your seat. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome the honorable moderator for this fantastic panel of experts. Please help me welcome with a big round of applause Mr. Rahul Singh, Vice President and Head of Marketing from SAP India Subcontinent. A big round of applause to Rahul. Rahul, welcome to the panel. All over to you, captain of the ship, and what a fantastic panel we have.
Thank you so much. And I think we need some energy in the room. So, ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause once again for this great panel. And it's such a great honor and a privilege to be tasked with this for hosting this panel today. Thank you very much for that. And given that we have a large panel and limitations of time, I'll straight away get down to business. Given the diversity of this panel, right, we've got bankers here, we've got healthcare, we've got e-commerce, electrical appliances, and of course, not to forget Shadi.com. So it can't be more diverse than that. So I thought it'll be a great idea. I'm not an expert across industries. So I think it'll be a great idea if you could go around the panel, if you could articulate, the specific CX challenges, which are very unique to your industry. For instance, my company, I represent SAP, which is a global enterprise software company operating across 25 different industries. Our challenges in terms of customer experience would be very, very different from another industry. So maybe if you can just take, if we can, under a minute to kind of articulate your unique CX challenges. Maybe we can start with you.
Okay, I want audience participation when in this panel also. So let me ask you one question. How many of you think that innovation requires out-of-the-box thinking? Anyone? Okay, so let me ask you a simple question. Okay, whenever you are opening an app in your mobile, do you like signing again, entering your password? Do anyone like? No. And we always like that there has to be a way where this needs not to be done, but it should be a secured way. So that is why biometric is there, right? But does it require any out of the box thinking? No. So how many of you have spoken to a chatbot and immediately after that there was a need to speak to an actual human and you have to iterate the entire story again, right? So this is where the challenges are there, that the transformation the transition from what you are interacting with the chatbot and you are interacting with a human is actually the challenge, where we want a seamless customer experience. So these are some of the challenge. I will not take much time. I'll follow that rule which you have given, that 1 minute for one speaker for a one question. So over to you.
Only for this question.
Thanks, Rahul. I hope I'm audible. I am Dharmarajan. I represent Tata CLiQ and I head beauty business. For us, slightly different from the thought, Rahul, that you had, that each industry have their own sort of expectation on customer experience. We are now realizing consumers are moving from one industry to the other almost seamlessly. And thanks to one single mobile device where you're accessing everything. Expectation from consumers when they are transacting on e-commerce platform, how the app behaves, is exactly how they would want their banking apps to work, and how they want some of the B2B customers to work and B2C, which essentially means that your competition is not just within the industry. Being aware of where the rest of the industry is moving towards, what are the best in technology that is getting utilized, and it's a ever moving challenge. And for us to be ahead of that curve at all points in time, and where the cost of switch doesn't exist, which is how the whole businesses were run in the past, is what the challenge is. And it's also the opportunity. People like us who are digital first in crafting journeys with a very deep thought about how consumer will interact and how they are interacting with some of the other large service industry players is what keeps us moving. Thanks. And we'll probably share a little bit more around what we're doing.
Sure. Thanks, Dharmarajan.
Thank you very much. At the outset, thank you very much for having me as a panelist. And for a change, I'm really jealous of my panelist here. On one hand, he's a beauty expert, and other hand, he's a Shadi.com person. Okay. So I come from healthcare, and a lot of challenges are there with respect to digitization in healthcare domain, particularly health hospitals or pharmaceuticals. I represent both of them. And one of the topic I can talk about is hyper-personalization. And a quick check on this. How many of you would like to be reminded of your diseases by hospitals? By raise of hand. Nobody is raising a hand, right? So that is a kind of challenge which I've already mentioned over here now. So of course there's a government regulation also. We are not supposed to store any kind of customer data. And how do you make a persona of the customers and make digital strategies of engaging them? So I think to start with, this one is good enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rishi.
Thank you, Rishi. Thank you, Rahul. As Rahul said that I represent Shadi.com, and though I keep telling people that ours is a tech company, but people always tend to look at our organization from a different lens, and that is the biggest challenge which we face. The challenge is on one side when customer behavior is changing over the period of time. Customer is becoming more intolerant, customer is becoming more demanding, and we are seeing across the industry automations are taking the place. Our challenge is while deploying any technology, how to be human while deploying that technology. That is the biggest challenge, because finally whatever we are doing, we are in the business of relationships, And because of that, we have to always keep in mind that not just individuals, but even their parents are also there on the platform. And because of that, we have to always keep in mind that emotional part of their behavior. We cannot possibly just treat every single interaction as transaction, and that is the challenge which we face. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, morning. So my name is Rakesh. I'm from Panasonic Life Solutions. So we'll talk about the CX specific to our industry later on. But the challenge, as you asked rightly asked, the challenge is to deliver. To add on what Siddharth already said, is to deliver the same experience across the touch points. Now, what you spoke about, that channel through customer is coming up. But in our kind of industry, there are several touch points. And if you want to deliver CX, it could not only be digital. So for example, if a consumer is walking in a store, to have a touch and feel of the product. So what is the kind of experience you are delivering there? So if he is asking for an installation and an engineer visiting at his place for an installation, what experience? So the challenge for us is to deliver same kind of experience, that wow factor across the different touch points. It could be physical, it could be digital. So, that's a major challenge what we face today in our industry. And with the kind of changing consumer behaviors, what Nilesh ji has had on, it is getting, complex daily to deliver the same experience across the points.
Totally agree.
My name is Rupesh. I am from Prism Johnson. We are into core building materials manufacture. So the challenge which we have seen typically is like the product which you see now, the building materials are where the involvement of the customer was very less now earlier. Now it has gone that the involvement has improved, like whether it is selection of tiles or bath fittings. So the challenge which we see is how do we map the customer's journey? Because today customer is switching from physical to digital. He goes to the stores. He would like to have that physical experience. So the marketing team is there who takes care about those physical experience. But then now the technology is coming into place over there. And you never know that from physical where he's going to go digital, because sometimes they go check out the product in the market, have the visit the stores, and then they will come back and then start on looking online the products. So how do you have that experience delivered across seamlessly? Yeah, and what is that he's looking at? Is it looking at only a product, or it is right from decision making? So that's something which we'll have to tackle.
Thank you.
Thanks. Morning. My name is Nitin. I represent life insurance industry. There are two things that we typically faced. One, of course, is defining what is customer experience and how will you measure whether, when you started to think about improving the customer experience, how will you measure that tangibly as an organization by doing 1, 2, 3 things? Have you really improved? This is where many organizations have seen actually go wrong. Because the commitment to technology and the investment that you end up making is huge. But after 2 years, once the output is available, you don't know what needle has moved. So that's one challenge. The second is that this change of what we think that customers would really want has to go through a series of investment, and it's a fairly long gestation process. And for large retail organizations, it can take about a year, year and a half, 2 years. There, the ball can drop many a times because it also requires fair amount of change management. So the second challenge that I'm talking about is more about getting the folks within the organization, your intermediaries who are actually touching the customers, to get them also aligned to the new way of disseminating service, and therefore, before the customer would latch on to the new technology, your own organization, your own employees and your distributors need to also latch on to the same technology and believe that this will allow the customer experience to go multi-fold. So 2 things. First, about before committing on the investment, be very clear about the MOS or the measure of success, that once we've done this investment, what needle and which all needles will move and how will we measure it, because the investments can be huge for large retail organizations. Second, it's a fairly long gestation, change management, and therefore ensuring that the ball doesn't drop and your employees and your distributors are co-opted in the process before this journey ends. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think I think the audience got a fair view of how diverse those CX challenges are if you go industry by industry. I think this panel put together probably represents over 200 years of collective experience. So I think it'll be a great idea, if maybe a great value for the audience to learn about some of the best practices that you have deployed in your organizations. I think it'll be a very valuable takeaway. I'm going to go in random order, and you can take longer than 1 minute. So let me start with you, Dharmarajan. Given that e-commerce is probably one of the most competitive businesses to be in, and also I think the shift in consumer behavior, demographics that India is seeing and will continue to see over the next few decades. What are some of the things that you're doing to especially from a CX point of view, to differentiate yourself, given that there are so many players out there in the market?
Yeah, very interesting, and it's a good place to be in. There is competition means consumers love it, and hence you have so many players trying to offer the right solution for the customers. I would probably touch upon 2-3 things where we as an organization are deeply focused on providing end experience for the consumers. What we essentially do is moving from output to input metrics. We as an organization are highly focused on input, which essentially determines the end experience and end consumer experience. We started off with NPS as a survey, which makes it little easy for organization to benchmark themselves with rest in the industry. What we coined was what we call it as perfect order. This is an input to NPS. Perfect order is in the e-commerce. What we do is if an order is placed and you have promised, the item doesn't get cancelled by customer or by the seller, it gets shipped on time, delivered on time, it doesn't get returned by the logistic partner, and in the entire process there is not a single interaction from customer. These are all various input parameters. What we have seen is people who have gone through this perfect experience and have responded to NPS survey. The NPS is 70 plus. Vis-a-vis if you have gone through a non-perfect order experience, it's about 20. So it's a direct correlation. The biggest advantage is you have 100% of all customers being a part of perfect order, unlike NPS, which is survey dependent, and there are certain biases that come in. And this model of doing things highly input basis, we have sort of replicated across the organization. And this customer experience, the customer keeps changing. We call it as brand experience, employee experience, everything, and we start measuring it as perfect hire. For example, somebody who we are hiring in the organization, and this becomes an input model. And this perfect order is how we measure somebody who has bought from us, and it gets replicated in every single part of the consumer buying experience. Say, for example, on the buying journey, we very deeply spend and understand where and what customer is spending time on. If you are say searching, we have metrics, not just about, there are like 3-4 very key, critical and fairly common metric, what you call it as no search result. If they are searching for something and they did not find it. Second is if they found a page landed and did the customer click on whatever resulting page were. These are fairly common method to assess whether you understand what customer is asking you for. We go one level deeper and we do something called as mean rank rate, which means was I able to show the product that the customer is looking for as the highest fold, at the first fold, second fold. So essentially what it means is every part of the business is deeply understanding what customer needs are for that part of the journey, and we build input metric which tells us that we are delivering good services to consumers. So it's not dependent on customer to come back and tell us whether we did good or bad. We try and build it as a part of our internal measures, and it becomes a DNA in the organization. Every product that gets built is with the premise are you able to identify what could be the friction areas? What are the measures, input measures for the friction areas, and how would you solve it proactively? So those are some of the things that we do here.
Thank you. Thank you, Dharmarajan. Nitin, I'll come to you. Given that insurance, like so many other industries, has seen so much disruption, especially, around the COVID time, in your industry particularly, new age, if I may, nimble players appeared on the scene. The way people looked at, this whole process of, buying insurance fundamentally changed. How, what are you, what are some of the things that you've been doing to kind of stay ahead of the curve, especially and it will probably continue to evolve over the, and on top of it, it is a heavily regulated industry as well. So how do you, leverage technology, or, what are the best practices that we can take away today?
Okay, so in an insurance parlance, there are two things that you can start to innovate. One, of course, is that you change the way people buy. So when you are onboarding somebody, what experience do you want to give to them when they want to choose and then decide to buy? And I will just use example of another company, and then I'll come back to what we've done. So Policy Bazaar, for example, it's a web aggregator. What they've done is they've created a sort of a marketplace where their pull to the customer is that you come and research and then decide to make your own choice. And therefore, information available is that you have comparatives available across all companies. You have relevant information that a customer will seek. So it's about enabling the ecosystem of information to be made available to a customer before he or she decides to buy a product. And as consumers, most of us feel far more reassured if we are able to compare between multiple options and then decide that I want to buy this because of 1, 2, 3 reasons. So this is one, that you make the onboarding environment enabled so that customers feel far more reassured than just the reassurance of the intermediary who is explaining to them that why this product versus another product. But the second is, in life insurance specifically, it's a long gestation product. Typically, a customer will stay with us for about 15 to 20 years. Now, and we coined this philosophy saying that happy customers stay longer and they buy more. And if you are on this side and you want that a customer who's staying with you for 20 years should buy more product, then your focus has to be that how do I continue to engage with this customer for the next 15, 20 years. So there are two things. You can map the servicing requirements that a customer will have over the next 15 years, and we pretty much now know that these are the 5 services for which a customer will come to me again and again. For example, as simple as a basic bank account update. This used to be till about 2-3 years back a very cumbersome process. The customers were asked to come to the branches, give physical papers, cancel checks, etc. Today, this is now automated. I don't ask for any document. It is as simple as a click of a button. You just scan the images, don't even scan the image. Just put your bank account details. I'll validate it immediately, instantaneously, and your bank account is updated. My sense is that digitizing and automating these services, which gives trust to a customer that at the click of a button, my policy, my money, and whether my intermediary exists or no, I have a direct access to the organization. And by the way, it's easy for me to execute. Even if I'm a 55-year-old guy, I am not scared of using this technology. Why? Because it's very simple. So our principle was, and that's etched in our purpose, that we make, in a complicated world, we make things simple. We simplified all journeys. Instead of spending money on the platform, we spent time and investment on reimagining all the journeys. So on an average, for example, a customer would take 20 minutes to do one journey. Today, that time is reduced to about 5 minutes. So we believe that this has enabled us to become far more superior. And this is also, as Dharma was explaining, we also use NPS. Our NPS last 2 years was about 27. We are trending at about 60 plus in just last 2 years.
Yeah, great insights. Thank you. We'll stay with financial services. Siddharth, if you can talk us through what Kotak is doing from a CX perspective, given that, while I was trying to do my own research, I think, you've consistently stayed ahead of the curve. with so many innovative products, conversational banking, and so many other things, biometric banking, I believe. Maybe you can talk us through some of the interesting things that you are doing there.
Okay, so being a bank, the first responsibility is, so many customers of ours are trusting us with their money. Okay, so securing and safeguarding their money, their interest is paramount to for any bank. Okay, so first and foremost is the cyber security, which a bank has to take into account, and it should be the priority number one. The second is the regulation, and as we all know, banks are regulated, heavily regulated by RBI, and these are our guardrails. And within this circle, we have to innovate. We have to give superior experience to our customers. And obviously, there is a threat also from outside, whether it is fintech or whether it is other players. Like recently, you may have heard of Apple savings accounts, which was launched in US. Okay, and quickly within 6 months, it has become one of the top 150th bank. The kind of deposit it has, it can beat 150 top one. It is in the top 150 league. So these are the challenges, and we have to act fast. We have to stay ahead of the curve. So I know, if you can go and apply for any loan, so there are certain validation checks which are required, which everybody has to follow from a risk management perspective. However, doing something which enables a customer a good experience, as well as less hassle when they are doing ask or coming for some service to a bank, is again a great balancing act. Consider a case that if you are coming for a personal loan and you may not get it in less than 10 seconds, that customer will move to some other place, because there are players who are giving in less than 5 seconds or 10 seconds. There's a bare minimum commitment. Now, this is the one product. Suppose you want to buy a credit card and you are a new to bank customer, and so there are lots and lots of validation, lots and lots of checks which is required to do or to for a bank to perform. First is obviously compliance, as well as internal risk management policy, and still giving a card in 6 minutes for a new to bank customer is, I would say, a great feat, and not many of players could do it. And still, if somebody is able to do it, then I think this takes them ahead of the curve. So I would say, I don't know how many of you use Kotak 811, Kotak Cherry. So important part is that self-service is a great factor when you are having good CX experience, where customers should be able to do and help themselves with all the things which is required in order to operate that piece of software or a mobile application. And unless the self-service is there, there will not be any need to call up a call center and ask for things. And this will automatically reduce the workload of a call center, as well as will be more convenient to the customer. And I'm sure you would agree with that. Instead of calling and waiting for a call center representative to come online and resolve your query, can you do it yourself over logging into or using a chatbot or any other medium of communication which brings a good customer experience? So these are something which we are working, and we will keep on working in future.
Thank you, Siddharth. So basically, you're saying lesser interventions means better customer experience, right? Rakesh, I'll come to you. Anchor has been one of the most loved brands or admired brands in India for decades now. Now, of course, part of Panasonic. And last few years, I believe you've diversified into other areas as well. Can you talk us through your CX initiatives, some of the best practices that the audience could take away?
When it comes to CX, as I already mentioned in my previous statement, it is very important to have a physical as well as digital, both kind of experiences. We have to look at both kind of experience.
Yeah, I think you'll have to. Yeah.
working. I think it's working. So we have to develop both kind of experiences. Now, on a contrary to what Siddharth said, it is always not necessary that online or self-service is helpful. For example, if a consumer wants to register his service request, today still whatever digitization we have given chatbots, we have given voice bots, we have given self-service modules. But for registration of a service request or a product service request, still Indian people love to speak to someone. He feels satisfied. Oh, मैंने मेरी problem किसी को बता दी है, किसी ने मेरा सुन लिया है. And when a product is not working, for example, an air conditioner is not working at 40 degrees Celsius, and you convert that consumer to a chatbot, हाँ sir बताइए क्या तकलीफ है. It adds to an level of bit of bitter experience to consumers. So what we have done a balanced approach. So for example, contact centers, as we know, we cannot run contact centers 24/7. So what we have done, apart from the working hours, we have tried to develop voice bots, chat bots, giving NLPs, giving self-learning tools, giving language options to the consumers so that they can learn better. And it is on the convenience. Today, it is not necessary that a product has failed in the afternoon, and if a consumer has came back in the evening, he'll not love to wait for the next day to come back to us. He would like it instantly. So there comes the self-help tools, the chat bots and the voice bots of the world. Now, secondly, the experience, what is being delivered in our industry, for example, an electrician coming to your home to repair your product, or on installation of a water heater or a solar plant or a solar street light, it is very important that the individual who is coming to your place delivers an experience. So he is the face of the organization of Anchor or Panasonic. So we are investing a lot, we are investing heavily on soft skills of our technicians. It is the kind of expectation change from the consumers. Previously, when I was an engineer, expectation was somebody should come and repair my product. That was the least expectation, maximum expectation. Now today, he should come down in another 6 hours, repair it on the first visit. And as everybody said about NPS, we are also striving for NPS. So that's where it is important to get technicians skilled. I'll just give a mythological example. So when Hanumanji is a Bhagwan itself, but Ramji sent Hanumanji, you just find Sita and give Anguti to her. That was the task assigned, but unhone Lanka jala di. He burnt up the entire Lanka. So there was an issue in soft skill. Okay, what has to be done? So we are investing heavily in our technicians so that he does what consumer likes. So to analyze from our data what exactly consumer wants, whether he wants a particular feature from a product, or it is related to a product performance or the expectation. So that's where we've invested, and it is yielding results for also getting NPS scores bettering year on year basis. So more on the human side we are investing for delivering a better CX.
Thanks, Rakesh. I think there are two divergent trends, at least from where I see it, right? One is, on one hand, we're talking about hyper-personalization, which is about, customizing every interaction with every customer in a unique fashion, tailored to the needs of that customer. And on the other hand, we are talking about automation of customer experience, which is like industrializing that interaction, right? So I think as this group, and probably everybody involved in CX has to address that, and maybe the technologies that are coming up will help we will have bots which are human-like, for all you know. So the person on the other side does not even know that he is not talking to a human, for example, right? And also I don't know if, at least I read about this hotel in Japan which has no people on the front desk, for instance, right? And which is completely contrary to our Indian way of, like Rakesh, you mentioned about having humans offering that personal human touch. But then their research showed that the new age millennial customers are not interested in human interactions anymore. They want efficiency. As long as the technology delivers what they're looking for, they don't necessarily need a human, smiling human face across the front desk. So there are so many divergent trends that will emerge. So it will be difficult to, and as India will evolve in the next couple of decades or more, I think those things will change here as well. Okay, I was trying to save the best for the last for this segment. Dr. Jagmohan, I'll come to you, given that you come from the healthcare and the pharmaceutical industry. Talk us through, because it's unique. Actually, the patient is your customer, right? So that makes it very interesting. Just talk us through some of the CX initiatives that you're taking.
Yeah, thank you very much. In fact, the healthcare industry, be it pharma or hospitals, I call them a dinosauric industry. So that's the reason I wrote a book, Are You a Digital Dinosaur?
I think you, yeah, you're not.
Hello? So that's the reason I mentioned in my book, Are You a Digital Dinosaur? So why it so is because hospitals is a pull industry. You don't like to go to the hospital, but you're forced to go there. I hope you agree on that. So I will tell you from a personal experience, my wife got diagnosed for a breast cancer, and I had a real experience of last about 6-7 months. That's what she's fine now. So those who have gone to the hospital, they will understand how to take an appointment from a doctor, how to go to a diagnostic test, how to go for the follow-ups. Are you getting the seamless experience in a hospital? I'm not talking about a particular hospital, but general hospitals I'm talking about. So those hospitals particularly need to digitize themselves to give a seamless experience. That is something which you will come across, because you're forced to go there, but still you are a customer and you have to have an expectation of getting a seamless experience. Coming to pharmaceuticals, Rahul, when you talk about pharmaceuticals, because it's a regulated industry, we have to come out with the strategies, because customer is not a patient only here, he's a doctor also. So we have to ensure that we conduct a lot of education programs, which is again in an automated format for the doctors, and also patient awareness camps and awareness programs through which we educate the patient for the particular disease or how to take care of it. Second is the patient support programs again. That is again, a lot of pharma companies have come up with patient support programs, but as I think Rakesh was talking about, there has to be a consistency in which the way we patients experience that patient support program. So we, some of the companies, they assess NPS or CSAT score, but some don't. But objective is that how the patients are experiencing those patient support programs. Are they getting support from bots and whatever not? And the final point I like to mention over here is that EX is equal to CX. So you take care of your employees, at the same time you train your employees in a manner so that they can give a better CX to the customers. That is what one of my mantras which I always emphasize upon. And since I represent learning and development also, so it is very closely related to the digital transformation and CX particularly. How well you train your employees you will be able to give a better CX to your customers. So it is very, very important. You can do a CX in an organization, but what happens is that if my system is not working properly, then CX will be faulty, of course. So I have to make sure that my system works, and that's exactly what is ailing in some of the healthcare sectors, kind of thing.
Yep. Well said. Especially in industries like healthcare, hospitality, aviation, I think that human element is a very important link in the CX value chain, right? I'll come to you, Prism Johnson. Prism Johnson is obviously one of India's largest integrated building material companies. And by the very nature of your business, I would assume a lot of your customer interactions would be B2B. But I think you did mention that end customers are now getting engaged in that whole buying process now. So how do you balance this traditional construction, the aspects of the traditional construction material business with digital experiences?
So, as you correctly said, it's traditionally a B2B business, and now we are trying to reach out to the B2C. So there was a compelling reason to it also, because if you look at our industry, whether it is home decor industry or curtains or manufacturing of tiles, all these falls are now moving towards a home improvement product category. And there are a lot of influencers who are coming into this particular business, who influence the decisions of the consumers. Initially, the consumers, certain of the products categories, like if you go for home decor improvement products like curtains, you would directly involved into go to the store, you look the feel, have the look and feel of the texture of the product, and you buy it. But products like us, where it's tiles or bath fittings, the end consumer's involvement was not that much high. It was more of the influencers or the contractors who used to decide what has to be going to be in the fitting into your bathroom or your kitchen. Now, over a period, we have seen that because of the choice which has been given, the end consumer is also getting into it. The way the selling has been done, people are now getting attracted to it. But over a period, again, there has been some confusion or other. The customer is getting not able to decide at a certain when it comes to a certain stage. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to bring the customer to the foreground from the shadow of the influences to the front end by giving him some, by connecting through him to digital means, by providing in apps, providing mobile applications, the websites, where he can, and the challenge that was not just directly going and selling, but it was to make his life simpler, taking him through a journey. So if you look at some of the apps which we have now introducing, the consumer, the moment he has purchased a plot of land, he is on his journey of building a house. Now we become a part of that journey, take him through the process by making him aware about what is the construction process, what are the critical point of failures which he has to take care of. So what are the estimation? So a rough estimator where he can calculate the estimation and have a budget of a particular product. So he can compare it with the physical estimations which. And then at certain points when he comes, we help him to guide in taking decision that what is the type of product which he has to fit into. Say for example, cement, when it goes at the foundation level, which type of quality of cement will go into it. When it is pillars, what type of cement. So these are the different category, or rather I would say journey which we are hand-holding the customers. This has given us a tremendous advantage where we are directly connecting to the customers, because for him it's anywhere between 8 to 1 year or 2 years of journey of building a house. And in that we used to lose customers because of the influencers used to change brands. Now we have seen that the stickiness of the customer is high. The customer is able to dictate what he wants, which brand he wants. Same thing you'll find in tiles and other products, where there is, unlike a product like, a mobile, where everything and you are, okay, this is what I want. When you go to a store where you are selecting a tile, you don't know except the look and feel, but whether this is for flooring, what type of flooring I'm using it, whether it is going to be used in a bathroom, whether it is on a wall or a flooring. So there is, what we have brought in is he can go, when he goes and searches on the net, he can go through, he has a learning journey. So we try to educate him, use the digital media to provide him those information where he can take decisions. And then it's more of, helping him taking decisions.
Thank you so much. Really insightful. Nilesh, truly this is saving the best for the last, at least in this segment, as we still have some time left. Shadi.com is truly, one of the pioneers of the .com business, right? 2 decades or more, when there were hardly any companies which were, digital native, if I may. But earlier when we were sitting and having a quick chat before the discussion, you mentioned how, consumer behavior in your case, and in your case, by the way, customer experience or a post-sale experience can be literally life-changing for your customers. How do you see, especially, since you spoke about social mores having evolved over the last 2 decades, and how the people, the consumers behave in this whole process is very different now, right? So how, just talk us through that whole change, and how are you keeping pace with the continuously changing consumer behavior, especially on the matrimony or digital matrimony site that you run?
One is obviously since last 2 decades, 2 decades before, lot of parents used to get engaged on our platform. Against that, along with parents, now even individuals are also there on the platform. Now, particularly talking about, say, post-sales experience, I would, delve into what Sudeep said. Sudeep said data is currency. And similarly, we also believe that data is currency, or data is like an oil for us. And therefore, particularly in our case, customer success is directly linked to engagement. Another important thing is we have seen that whenever customer comes first on our platform, at that time his excitement is very high. So chances of him continuing to be on the platform, as well as chances of him dropping off the platform, are quite high. It all depends on what that first experience he gets on the platform. So what we used to do before, whenever a person used to come on the platform and he used to create a profile, that profile used to go for manual screening, wherein we used to check photographs as well as other details, whether whatever he has written is proper or not, whether any unparliamentary language is used or not. Now, all that is automated. Previously that person had to wait for 2 hours, and maximum dropouts used to happen during those 2 hours because his excitement was very high, but he couldn't do anything because his profile is not online. So he is unable to do anything there. So we brought that to our this thing to just 30 seconds. So in about 30 seconds to 1 minute, your profile is on, and then you can start engaging. Another important factor is, I think we all are aware, particularly when we are talking about matchmaking or matrimony, there are positives and there are negatives as well. And the negatives are you facing non-genuine people on the platform, and whatever you do, it is very difficult to find out that whether the person is genuine or not. However, over the period of time, we have, because of data, we have found out behavioral patterns of these people, and we have a model in place which is a self-training model. So as soon as anybody creates a profile, and for next next few days, depending on the behavior of that profile, we flag that profile as red, green, or orange, and basis that we or the customers are able to understand whether the person is genuine or not. If the person is not genuine, that profile is blocked from the platform. Second important thing is about matchmaking. So one is matching A is to B, wherein a Punjabi boy wanting to marry a girl who is 23 to 27 years old and maybe preferably working or whatever. But there are some other nuances as well, which or behavioral patterns which generally doesn't get captured in preferred partner criteria, and that is captured by our matchmaking engine, wherein this kind of person is likely to get matched with this kind of girl because of so and so behavioral patterns. So these things are also captured in our system, and matching profiles are thrown to him, which enhances his chances of getting matched with those profiles. So these are some of the things which we are working towards to enhance the customer experience.
Thank you. Fascinating. I wish I were 25 years younger, but too late now. Maybe for my kids now, right? So we've got 5 minutes left. I've got two choices. Either we open it up for some audience questions. I had tons of other questions, but I think, are there any questions from the audience for this panel?
for the questions. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for this wonderful panel session here. And to all the panel members for their session and their inputs, and also to Rahul for fantastically moderating the panel. Now, as Rahul said, we will take the questions from the floor. Rahul, in the interest of the time, can we keep it to a couple of questions?
Yes, only whatever 4 minutes can allow, right?
Absolutely, no problem. So, please raise your hand if you have a question, and you will get the mic from our team. And when you get the mic, please do introduce yourself and your organization and question to which specific panel member. If it's a generic question, I think Rahul is the best person to decide who is going to answer that.
Hello, this is Shweta from Godrej, and my question is to the panel, but specifically to Mr. Jagmohan representing healthcare sector. So, in name of CX, like we have a lot of technologies thrown to customers. Like you have tools interface, you have messages coming, you have reps talking to the customers in hospital, outside hospital. So how do you validate like which of the CX initiatives are actually being appreciated by the customer? How frequently that kind of evaluation happens? Because it's very exciting world to do a lot of innovation, a lot of interactions, but how do we have a balance, that validation and balance, like what is appropriate level of experience for customer?
Yes, please go ahead. I think you'll have to change. You may want to use this.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Interesting question. Definitely, we need to evaluate whether the reps who are there in the hospital or in the pharma organization, there are a lot of sales force effectiveness techniques which are being used. Plus, at the same time, post that, a feedback mechanism is there from the customers, be it doctors or the patients. But in our from the pharmaceutical perspective, we are not supposed to save that patient data. So it's a generic kind of feedback that what is their experience of this particular platform without saving any patient data. So we get a NPS score or CSAT score, that what has been the experience of this. Similarly, for the doctors, when we conduct these continued medical education programs, be it in a physical format or in a virtual format, a feedback mechanism is there post activity. Because every pharma company, be it Pfizer or USV or Wockhardt, they will be doing these education programs the way it is happening over here for the doctors, because doctors also need to have points particularly. So there again, the difference lies how it is being executed. So doctors also pick up those companies which execute better. So it is the results will talk about it. So in case you are offered to use a particular brand from out of these companies, you will pick up those companies which are giving a better CX accordingly. That's a kind of thing. I hope I answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jagmohanji. Moving on, we can have one question. Can we have the mic to the gentleman, please, on the back? So, request you to kindly keep your hand raised.
Hi, good morning. My question is very generic. I come from a hospitality background, so I'm representing Sayaji Hotels. So my question is
Could
to
you just
all of
keep your mic close to your...
Yeah, is it audible now? Yeah, thank you. So I come from a hospitality background, so I am representing Sayaji Hotels. So my question is very generic to all the panels. So there's always a war between pull and push marketing. And when it comes to CX experience, so what can be the better way in order not to make anyone spam out of it, and how can we advertise more, penetrate deeper? Yeah.
Any specific panel member to the question?
No, it's generic for anyone who can answer, I think.
So I think
Mr. Rahul.
No, also I want, if I can layer that question a bit, and that was an important question which we didn't get time to address, is the new data protection law, right? And how does that, change the mix and since we have no time left, maybe Dharmarajan, you can answer this.
Sure, thanks. Data protection is a big layer and a tough one to solve for. How we look at it specifically for your problem on push and pull is, it's over a period of time when you start analyzing data, will tell you what works best or what doesn't work best. One golden rule that we follow is try and assess what is the preferred channel for consumers and what is more personal than the other. Say, for example, if I am doing any WhatsApp based marketing communication or any promotion or offer, I try and keep it as personalized, as hyper personalized as possible, because I know that the open rate is 90% plus and the chances of consumer going through it is very high. In comparison to, say, SMS or email, where I have a slightly relaxed approach, even if I'm not 100% accurate about choosing the right segment, I'm still okay because I know that it is not as personal as a WhatsApp message. So we try and sort of differentiate in terms of the channel use to ensure that the consumer experience is not deteriorated. So when we choose a channel, for example, push notification, we try and keep it as highly selective in terms of cohort. I wouldn't send somebody who's always been a browser on certain categories a message which is very generic about category B. We don't do it. That's how we try and differentiate. It is the use of channel which helps us in sort of deciding between push and pull. We obviously, being marketers, need to use both. Yeah, that's the sort of solution.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dharmaraj. If I can just thank
Sure.
the audience.
I think we can take one more question, Rahul. So, one final question from the audience. Yeah. We'll try to keep it a little short and crisp in the interest of the time. Please do introduce yourself, your company, and question to which specific panel member, or if it is generic.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lieutenant Commander Arpit. I'm from Indian Navy. My specific question is to Mr. Nilesh, is with regards to that the feedback in your industry is the demand, and it keeps evolving. So, how has the feedback management evolved in the past decade, and what are the new innovations you're doing to the customers to build the customer relationship?
So, as far as feedback is concerned, particularly in our industry, the best feedback is from the customer directly. And as I mentioned before as well, that over the last 2 decades, because of the changing social fabric, our customer behavior also has changed. Means two decades before, we used to have parents as our customers. Now, apart from parents, even individuals are our customers, and therefore, on one side, obviously, we have a mechanism of getting the feedback digitally. We have a separate CX team which keeps talking to parents, because parents are those people who are generally not tech savvy. They are not that much interested in giving you an online feedback. They are more interested in talking to you one-to-one, and that is where this team comes into play. We have a separate relationship management department, so that department keeps talking to these people almost on weekly basis to get the feedback, and this feedback is then fed into the system, because this relationship management department is also responsible for training our customer facing force for soft skills trainings and other training apart from the product training. So this is what we have been doing.
Thank you so much, panel members. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, a big round of applause for this wonderful panel. CX automation, streamlining customer experience for the businesses. And we had 50 minutes of wonderful discussion with these experts and spearheaded by Mr. Rahul Singh. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call on stage Mr. Varhad Manjrekar from CS Infocom Private Limited to kindly do the honors of felicitating this wonderful panel of experts here. Varhad, thank you so much for doing the honors. We'll start with our honorable moderator first, Mr. Rahul Singh, Vice President and Head of Marketing from SAP India Subcontinent. A big round of applause to Rahul for wonderfully moderating the panel. Thank you so much, Rahul. Next, we would like to felicitate Mr. Siddharth Saxena, Senior Vice President, Information Technology from Kotak Mahindra Bank. A big round of applause to Siddharth for his valuable insights in the panel session. Thank you, Siddharth. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to felicitate Mr. Dharmarajan K, Chief Business Officer from Tata CLiQ. Thank you so much, Mr. Dharmarajan, for your wonderful feedbacks in the panel. Next, we would like to felicitate Dr.Jagmohan Singh RISHI, Vice President and Global Head from MNC Conglomerate Wockhardt. Thank you so much, Doctor, for your wonderful contribution in the panel. Next, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to felicitate Mr. Nilesh Borgharkar, Senior Vice President, Customer Support and Service, People Interactive, Shadi.com. Thank you, Nilesh, for your wonderful contribution in the panel. Next, we would like to extend our thanks and gratitude to Mr. Rakesh Gupta, Head of Customer Experience, Anchor by Panasonic. Thank you so much, Rakesh ji, for your wonderful insights in the panel. Next, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to felicitate Mr. Rupesh Nirgude, Chief Information and Digital Officer from Prism Johnson. Thank you so much, Rupesh, for your wonderful contribution in the panel. And next, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to felicitate Mr. Nitin Mehta, Chief Customer Officer and Head of Digital and Marketing, Bharti XL Life Insurance. Thank you so much, Nitin, for your wonderful feedback and insights on the panel. I would request you to come in the front for a group photograph, and Virat, if you could also join them for the same. A big round of applause once again, ladies and gentlemen, to this wonderful panel. 8 panel experts. And what a wonderful feedback and what a wonderful session we had. And thank you to the audience for your questions as well.